Good evening. My name is Patrick Peters. I'm a professor of architecture at the University of Houston, Rice School of Architecture alumnus, and the past president of the Rice Design Alliance. And on behalf of the Rice Design Alliance and its program committee, I welcome you to this third lecture of our fall series, Chinese Architecture. It's made possible by a grant from the National Endowment of the Arts, and in collaboration with the Rice School of Architecture, the Dallas Architecture Forum, the UT Austin School of Architecture, the Chao Center for Asian Studies, and the Transnational China Project at the Baker Institute for Public Policy at Rice University. As always, we are grateful to the Museum of Fine Arts Houston for the use of this beautiful auditorium, and we like to thank them for the continued support of our programs. We know with the kind of pressure on the use of the building that we see tonight, and we'll see next week, it's even more important. We also like to thank the Rice School of Architecture and Dean Whiting for their continued support of this organization and its mission. And we'd like to thank tonight's pre-lecture reception sponsor, the Chao Center for Asian Studies. And please note the list of sponsors on the screen to my left that have made this event possible, and would you please join me in thanking them? A bit more bookkeeping. Tonight, the MFA is hosting a very important event upstairs, as you probably gathered. And so as you leave the auditorium, we ask that you be as quiet as possible so as not to disturb that event. Also, we'll need you to exit the building, to exit the auditorium through the tunnel, just as we came in from the reception. And an added concern is that if you leave the lecture before it's complete, if you have to step out, please do so before 8 p.m. Or after 8:30, as we'll not be able to have traffic in and out of the auditorium in that half hour. And as a courtesy to our speaker, please silence your cell phones and do not use flash photography. This series will conclude next week on October 19th with our last speaker, and each of the lectures are traveling on to Dallas and then to Austin, Texas. Next week, like tonight, the reception will be held in the Beck building, and you'll be moving back and forth through the tunnel. But unlike tonight, the reception will be in the tunnel level across the lobby from Cafe Express. Also, I'd like to announce that on Saturday, November 12th, the RDA annual gala will honor the Woodlands. This is a very important fundraiser for our organization, as the event helps to fund RDA programs and lecture series such as this, as well as Site Magazine. For more information on this and future programs, please turn to the RDA website at www.ricedesignalliance.org. Now I'd like to introduce tonight's important speaker. Architect and professor Wang Shu lives in Hangzhou in Zhejiang province, where he established the amateur architecture studio with his wife, Lu Wenyu, in 1997. In this 14-year period of intense activity, they've been creating and conducting research on the reestablishment of a rooted Chinese contemporary architecture. His contrast of local and industrial materials and construction methods demonstrate a search for this rootedness. And it's seen in such projects that we hopefully will see tonight: the ceramic houses, the vertical courtyard apartment, the Ningbo Contemporary Art Museum, the Five Scattered House, the new campus for the Academy of Art in Hangzhou, the Ningbo Historic Museum, and Tengtu Pavilion for the Shanghai Expo. As a bulwark against the rampant consumption that we see in China, this application of a vernacular, traditional, and in some cases recycled construction material with modern technology finds ready application and is profoundly welcome. And we see the resonance of a common interest, that the work of Louis Kahn in the work, in part through the influence of his interests and his former teacher. The projects have been published in numerous books and magazines worldwide, as well as have been shown in museums, art and architecture centers, and in educational institutes in Europe, Asia, and North America, including the Venice Architecture Biennale. And in 2009, his solo exhibition, Architecture as a Resistance, was displayed in the Beaux-Arts Art Center in Brussels. As I said, he's an educator, and since 2007 has served as the dean or the head of the School of Architecture in the China Academy of Art in Hangzhou, one of the best architecture schools and art schools in China. In fact, he was educated in the oldest architecture school, Southeast University in Nanjing. He's been invited by universities, colleges, and other institutes around the world to lecture, participate in conferences, and teach, and is this semester at the Harvard University Graduate School of Design as the Kenzo Tangi visiting chair. In 2010, he was awarded the Schelling Architecture Prize in Germany, and in 2011, the Gold Prize of the Académie d'Architecture de France. And at this level of accomplishment, I think you know what's awaiting you, so I would like to introduce our speaker. Join me at the podium.
Yeah, okay, I need your help. Yeah, thank you, because in fact, I don't know how to use computer, so usually I need people to help me. And at first, I should thanks the Rice Design Land. They invite me come here. It's because I know this university is good for the architecture education, so it's very honorable to come here to give the lecture, to give the introduction about my work and my thinking in China. So today I want to talk about it's architecture with hands. I think that today I will speak better because I remember in the 2006, the first time I gave a lecture in English in Harvard. At that time, I think I just know about 300 English words. But today, I think I can use about 1,000 words. So I think I will speak better. So it's very interesting. For example, I teach in the Harvard now. I thought the students and teachers also no people join there. I remember that just yesterday, I have a lunch in the GSD's coffee bar. I joined there on the table, and some old professor very, very excited to speak to me. Oh, no people now join here. You join in the coffee bar. It's very excited. I don't know. No people join here because I think it's a very interesting story. It's just maybe 2 years ago, some people they tell to me, maybe you are the last one architects. They still use their hands to join architecture in China. Do you know? I think, I don't know. I just do this for a long time. I don't know. But I think it's very important because now the education and the way about the architecture works now usually use a computer. It means you don't really touch things. You don't really touch materials. You don't really touch your real experience about thinking. So I think I suddenly found, oh, it's very important, architecture with hands. So today you will you will see how this architecture works. This is my studio's name, Amateur Architecture Studio. I established this studio in the 1997 with my wife together. In fact, before I have the studio, I have do the practice about architecture for 10 years. But that time it's really very difficult time for me, even for the average Chinese architects, especially in the 1990s. In that time, you can't imagine in China, in 1990s, almost no people know, apart from architecture circle groups, no people know in the society know what's meaning about architecture, what's the meaning about the architects. Usually, the people, architects is engineer, or is the carpenter, so something like this. So, but in the 1990s, China began going to the fast development, big change. The first tide, it means economic, commercial change, something like this. So I remember in the 1990s, still have many architects, they have a real sharp discussion, argument about the thinking, about direction, about architecture in China. But in 1990s, almost everybody become businessmen. Very few architects that still insist on some experimental way. I think in all over China, maybe just leave 2 or 3 architects do this. One of this is me. So now in China, in fact, I'm an old architect. I mean old, but I accept. In the 1990s and near the end of 1990s, gradually have some small chance come to me. So I have my first studio in my home. Now I have a studio space like this. For me, it's a big jump. I have space. But it's just about the job. In fact, many people ask me, now you are become famous, you are maybe powerful in China, but why you still keep your studio scale so small? So I think it means my attitude to my works. That's why I called my studio called the Amateur Architecture Studio, because I'm really disappointed to the professional architects in this world. It's many problem. It's made by the architects, by the urban planner. So they should have some responsibility to this. So if the professional architect, they can't do good work, so I want to become amateur architects, something like this. You will find it's our small rooms. Usually my assistants, they working around me, they use the computer. It's my sit, drawing, calligraphy, model, something like this. So in another side, in China, in fact, just after 2000, we have some small independent office and a studio. Before that, it's all the large-scale National Design Institute. It's maybe 1,000 architects working together, 2,000, something huge. And they control the old area. So independent studio and office is very not easy survive in this situation. So I think I do something just early a little bit, do something like this. And I want to keep our position is very independent. But it's the happy thing is now, just after 2000, I think now we have maybe 100 independent studio and office in China. It's not just 1 or 2. So it's a big jump for China. Yeah, it's our studio. Usually just me and my wife. This is my beautiful wife. We're working together, and the other is for example, this one is originally is my student. Now I become young teacher in our school. The other one is our graduate students. They is our assistant. So we just have the scale like this, something. very small. So many people, they ask me why. You have the ability to let your studio become a big company. You have the ability. But I just don't want to do it. I just want to keep this scale. For me, it's the best choice. And of course, another important is about my thinking when I have some important change about my way. I think it's important for Chinese architect is they should find their way by themselves. It's very important because so many architects they just know copy. They copy it from all over the world, copy what they want. But I think the most meaningful things, important things, you should find your way by yourself. I think I found my way is around 2000. Plus, I have, in fact, I have a rich experience about design and construction. And in that time, I found my way. I do installation in an international sculpture exhibition in Hangzhou. And I'm responsible for all the exhibition's design and help for the artist. Then I also do work by myself. And finally, I think, it's okay because everybody, they use the steel, concrete, do the sculpture, and everyone, they should do the basement to dig out some earth. So I think, okay, I can do this. I collected earth and built my works. I think that's the first time I do work by myself, and not just about design, directly by myself with my wife together. Now you'll find the material here. I want to use some old tiles to put on the road. I just talked about to the craftsman. I want maybe 2,000 pieces, and then second day they moved to this to the side. I found it's so high quality Qing dynasty. It means 300 years ago tiles, and it is the price is just half to the new tiles. It's so cheap. So then I do the investigation in all our cities, Hangzhou. I found it's a so large-scale demolition happened in that time. That's the family that work like this. Yeah, I think it's very important to me. It's have a deep influence when I do this work to my heart, to my thinking. I get a quite different feeling, understanding about architecture. This is the root. We use the recycled tiles. It's the quality, the tiles, is more higher than the new one. Very good qualities. But the people that slew this material when they do the demolition, everywhere like the rubbish. So I think I am a contemporary artist. I should give the answer. The contemporary, that means when you face to this problem, you should give the answer to it. You can't just do some artist works, something like this. You should directly give some answer to this. So I think about it, how to do it. So in that time, I think my architect way like this. We start from the hands making. Before we do some drawing, something like this, we touch the material first. So we do the start from the 2000 every year. We do the investigation in the cities, servers, and the countryside to look what happened, real happened in our society, especially some traditional way. Because Chinese architecture traditional way, it's usually like they use the natural materials, and they recycled almost everything, and they making by the hands. But you will find they have the beautiful design and the relationship to the natural environment, something like this. And they can do so beautiful craftsman works, even to now. They can do this. So I think it's a chance for China. It's not just about for China, I think it's also for all over the world. It means chance. China, they keep the rich culture, rich way about how to use the materials, how to directly construct with the natural materials. In this two developed time, in this two computers time, this way is very important, especially when they talk about sustainable, we talk about illogical. We should looking back to see what happened in these areas, the people, how they do. I think it's, every way is sustainable, every way is ecological, something like this. It's just do by the common people. It's, in China, old system, no architects. Just 100 years ago in China, no architects. Our system is, we call it scholar plus craftsman directly. Just no architects. It's, we just have the education, architecture education from the 1920s. The first group of students graduated from the United States, especially from the UPenn. One of my old professor, his Louis Kahn's classmates, graduated from that time. Then they took the modern architecture education way to China. Before this, no architects in China for 5,000 years. So it's very interesting. It's how the people, no architects, almost no drawing, how to do it. For example, we do the investigation in our city. When we do the renovation work from the traditional street, we're following a carpenter team for 11 weeks. Yeah, we do the very carefully investigation record for every week, what happened on site. I select just 1 week's work to show to you. Yes, this is just the site, construction site. About the 3 or 5 local carpenter, they will rebuild a traditional house here. The way is very simple. The site is very simple. The material also very simple. It's a wood, local wood, very cheap, not very good. So it's not very straight. It's some curves like this, something like this. Then you'll find their working way is very similar to the modern way. They do the element before they do the composition, something like this. So they do the everything like this. Then I find they have a very interesting word. They write on the wood. This means what? So with following the team, finally I find this means the China we have a very strict traditional principle about architecture. So it can instead of the drawing. The people, they just keep the memory here. It's like the drawing, but they don't need drawing. But the principle is very strict, but the material is the nature. So maybe in the principle it's a straight line, but the material like this. How to, like the natural material, to durable to the strict system. The people use this way. The S3 record, they just write on as how many distant from the principle. Then something like this. And about the position, which position, this element, something like this. Then you will find they use the very simple way to do it. It's a Chinese ink. They use the bamboo to write on the wood. It's used just one ruler. They can control all the building's construction. Just one rulers. It's the old head of the craftsman. He's about 60 years old. But on another side, the craftsman know this system, the age almost around 60 years old. This means if this generation died, Chinese tradition about architecture will stopped, will died. So you will find it's beautiful. In fact, he write many rulers, every rulers for one element. They following the one element in all the construction process. So they built a building about 2 floors, about maybe 10 meters plus 15 meters like this. Finally, they write 300 rulers on the bamboo. It can, instead of the joints, they can build a connection between the principle and the real materials. It's really fantastic. So you can use the bamboo to measure. It's very simple way. Then, finally, they can build so beautiful building, just the use, so simple. But it's not just means some primary way. I think it's very interesting. It just use the mathematics and directly fits to the natural materials. Then they build a system like this. It's so beautiful. So finally, I understand for the Chinese architectural tradition. If it really, because I'm a Chinese, so it's my, I think it's my duty to do some modern architecture, and they have some connection to our tradition. But what means our tradition? It means form, it means style, it means what? Finally, I found for the Chinese local traditional buildings, first important things, you should know materials, what you use. The form, the principle, they following your knowledge about the materials. It's not your design of the form before your materials. So it's very important for me, I understand. Of course, if you really want to do this, you should change your way about how to do architect. This one is, after that, we do many experiment works. We show to do something, they can build a bridge between the tradition and the modern thinking. For example, this way we do this in Venice, 2006. It's interesting thing is before we go to Italy, we do some experiment in Hangzhou. Then we do on the site. We have few people to do it. So I have the reminder of this. Just in the first day, the Italian people, they don't believe, it's just so few Chinese. They can finish this huge work within just 15 days. How can they do it? Another story is about this. I just have a small studio, but my way like this. Usually we do many experimental works when we do some real practice. It's my way. But usually now, if you ask the Chinese architect, they will give you answer. It's like this. Yes, I also really want to do something similar to Wang Shu. I want to do it, but I just no time. I'm too busy. I have no time. I have too many projects. I have no time. Yes, I'm also very busy, but I think my way is like this. You should do some parallel works, research, experiment, and the practice, real practice. You should keep this way. It's my way. We do many things like this. We discussion with my craftsman. So gradually we built a deep relationship with the local craftsman. This craftsman, they follow me in Ningbo about 80 years. Now they become very famous craftsmen there. Yeah, because they can do many new works in the modern buildings. They become famous. Originally, no people know how to do it. We do many experiments of the different materials. Yeah, he won't become my students for 8 years. Finally, when we finish my work in the Shanghai Expo, it's on the stage, I say, he become my student. He's so excited and so he cried. Yeah, we do the works, some experiment works there. Yeah, but on the other side, maybe you can't believe. In fact, in China, Usually, architects, they don't like do so small works. It means you so spend so much time, but just a few money. So it's just think about economic principle. No architect wanted to do some work so small. Just some very, very young architects in very early stage, they do something like this. Then they become successful, they forget it. So I think it's very important, even you become maybe famous, you still have to do many things like this. It not just means it's small, it's more easy. It means in China we have too much huge building like this. With very lake, something like this, they can build some new value, new relationship. So you will can see how our work in the Venice. This is our another craftsman head in Hangzhou. We have two teams. One is in Ningbo, another one in Hangzhou. He also helped me to build our new campus in Hangzhou. So we're working together. We used 5,000 bamboo to build a frame, about 800 square meters, within 5 days. How many people? 3 craftsmen, 6 architects, 9 people. 9 people. We're working there. We take the picture when we after finish the frame, bamboo. It's very, very strong structure. It's not just some artist's work. You just can see it. It just go up. It's architect's works. You can go up. Then we put 60,000 recycled tiles on this frame. It's incredible hard work, you know. But it's very important. When architect, you do some work by hands, by your body. Experience is if you change your feeling in the heart very deeply. It's very important. So we finished so beautiful work. Finally, we just use 13 days, finished. Yeah, that's my way. Usually we do some small works before we do some huge works. We are a very small studio, but another time, it's my way. We also can do huge works. How we can do it? Why we do something like this? Yeah, this happened in the past 10 years in China. So you can't believe it. Because usually Chinese will say, oh, we are a huge country. We have about 5,000 years history, something like this. But in fact, just in the past 20 years, we destroy our culture. We demolish our traditional building about more than 90%. It's a really big event in all the world. I think it should up to the every media's first face page. It means it's a big event. China, they destroyed by themselves, their culture. 90%, 20 years, within 20 years. We keep this for several thousand years. They exist there. Then we destroyed it just within 20 years. What happened? Because China, they want to become America. They want to become a modern country. So sometimes I give the joke is how we can become a real modern country. It means if we can let our history become 0 years, it means we become a modern country. This really happened. So I think it's important is apart from do the architecture practice, we should do some education for the people. So it's why I think in the good Chinese architects, only me now real teach in the school. I like spend some time to do the education. I think it's very, very important for our country. So usually I teach directly on the ruins. Yeah, it's like some disaster site you will find. You'll find the materials there, you'll find techniques there, you'll find many people's living things there. Then we do some prototype experiment. We want to rebuild the feeling. For example, I found some interesting things in our area tradition. The people, they use the recycled material everywhere. Yeah, because in our area, usually we have the big wind in the summer. When the wind passed, the building collapsed. The people, they should rebuild the building very quickly. So they no time to clarify the different kind of materials. So they developed very beautiful techniques about maybe used, for example, we do the investigation about world like this. They can mix about more than 80 different size materials constructed together. It's a so beautiful way. Yes, it's my work. It's my work. I do a very small gallery in Ningbo. It's one of the 5 scatter house. It's just 600 square meters, very small, but it's very important. We do the experiment about this. It's recycled bricks, tiles, and with the modern techniques together, it's concrete. How to, like they can put together, because in our construction law, no anything about it. So you should build some new principle about it. Finally, the national expert agree, okay, you can do it. Something like this. And even for the craftsmen, they also don't know how to do it, because they just know how to do the traditional way. As the traditional way, they don't know how to build this with the modern techniques together. Then we do some new things. It's Ningbo History Museum. That's why some people think it's impossible. The government, they invite so large amount of money and let you do some crazy things in so huge public buildings before we have the small experiment work before. So finally, I got our government-like client to see. Yeah, they can understand. Oh, if they can't see the example, they can't understand. And they see the example on site, they can understand. Oh, it's possible. It's beautiful. We can do it, something like this. For example, we do this concrete with the recycled bricks together. It's also very difficult because for the Chinese construction law, know anything about this. It's the natural materials. The standard, what means the quality standard. So we should do many experiments, more than 20 times. Finally, like the national expert, they agree, build new list for this architecture, for this way, something like this. This building about 30,000 square meters, history museum. But on another side, it's some special difficulty is, for example, when I design this building, I think how about the inner space relation to the collection exhibition. And the client tell me, it's a secret. We can't tell you what was our collection. You just design a space. But something like this. But in another side, finally, we will finish this work. It's really amazing. So it means in China, the people's opinion began to have some change. Just 5 years ago, it's impossible in China. But now the people began to change. Even the government officials began to change this idea. When we do this work, we win the international competition. When the first year, the client don't like this project. So they gave me many trouble in the first year. I remember one time, my client, he very angry shot to me. Why in this new city center, in this new, so modern new city center, you use the so old, dirty material? What's your means? Yeah, because around this building is many, many new buildings designed by the Qingyun Ma. It's this area called Small Manhattan, you know? So you design these strange things inside Small Manhattan. What do you mean? It's very interesting. So, like this. When the building be finished, he gave me a formal apologize. Yeah, even for me, it's amazing. You know, it's when we do this, we have a very accurate drawing for every wall, but the craftsman, the drawing just like this, but it work on the wall. In fact, this just means some principal direction. Finally, you will find many inventions by the local craftsmen. When they do this work, he's very happy, he's very enjoyed about it, and they do many beautiful things. It's maybe just 50% is come from my design. Another 50% come from hand making. It's really beautiful. But on another side, I have to go to the site many, many times, because usually when, for example, this will be finished, even the client don't know what means. It's a high quality, it's a low quality. What's the standard? Professor Wang Shu, you should come to site. Something like this. Yeah. In fact, it's my way. It's at the beginning, usually we do the hand drawing. It's my way. I liked it. Yeah, I write calligraphy, I drawing everything by hand, by pencil. Yeah, it's our school campus. We design it and design and finish the construction within 7 years. Yeah, it's my drawing about all the campus. It's just about A3 page, small one. But in fact, it's a so small one drawing, they can almost control everything in the construction. So finally, the people is very interesting is how to understand your architecture. So I give the example like this. You can't understand my building, use the common way. You should understand it's more similar to see the traditional Chinese painting, long painting. You should see like the movie, like this, something like this. Yeah. We designed about 20 big buildings in the campus. It also means big change, you know. Just before the 10 years before, I think the people, they don't believe the local architect, they can do work like this. It's not just several years later, the people, they changed the idea. It's a huge work. It's about near more than 1,500,000 square meters architecture. This is our architecture school. My office here. Yeah, it's my office here. Yeah, my office here. Oh, sorry. It's very important is for the Chinese tradition, the building relation to the natural environment is very important. It means, it not means the landscape. It means when you design architecture, they mix landscape together. This I designed this pavilion for Ningbo in the Shanghai Expo last year. It's a site. Yeah, it's our process, how am I thinking from the traditional paintings, and it's my joy. It's before I have the plan, I directly understanding the painting from the section. So it's my first page drawing, about 12 sections for these buildings. Then they build a system, then it becomes something like this. Finally, they become computer drawing like this by my assistant. It's interesting, it's this time, the local government, they forced me, you have to use recycled materials. Because now this become our city's very special things, recycle. It's good. Yeah. I used bamboo and bamboo concrete and recycle the bricks and tiles together. I will also use some experiment about a farm in the buildings, farm plant, because we want to talk about a new prototype. It can beyond the difference from the Chinese city and the countryside. In fact, this building is a pavilion in the expo, but another function is a house for 3 farmers. Yeah, we do many different things. It's my way. Usually I have interesting to discover many different things. For example, we do this work in the last year in Venice. We want to do a very light structure. The principle is have some relation to Chinese tradition, but the way is totally different. We do the small model in our campus. Then the students do the first time experiment in our campus. Then we build it in Venice. 1 teacher, 3 students, 4 people. We finish the work within 3 days. Then we do some real works as parallel this experiment. I designed a small museum, just 400 square meters in our city, for a ring site and traditional street. It's discovered some traditional street here. Yeah. Then we have some research about the traditional bridge, because I think we need a large span structure on the ring site. So we do the research. Yeah, it's a beautiful way. They use the very common small wood. They can build large span bridge. The Chinese use this way for more than 1,000 years. We still keep about 200 bridge in our province. Then it's my design. I use the bridge structure, but this structure is new. It's a double layer structure and it has space like this. But no carpenter know how to do it. Then finally we found it in our province, in all over China, we just have 2 carpenters. They can do it. One is beyond 80 years old, so they can't do. But it's students just more than 40 years old, but they refuse to do because they say, oh, this is architecture. It's a building. It's not bridge. I just know how to build bridge. I don't know how to build building. So finally we elected a computer to do the experiment. 6 computer team finally lived. They can't do it. This guy is the last one. He's a really happy guy. Finally he finished his work. Yeah, I don't know how they understand the principle finally, because they have many important principles within the construction process, even me don't know very clearly. Another side is the people, they finish it very fast. They finish this museum construction within 70 days. Incredible. In fact, it's the Chinese country's secret, because just from 2,000 years ago, we have built the system. It's very clear principle, very simple way. We can maybe 10,000 people working together just for one thing, then very quickly, something like this. It's Chinese secret. So some people, they ask me, how long the Chinese, they built Great Wall? Great Wall, how long? According to the history record, just within 10 years, Chinese finished it. And yes, we don't need 100 years to do it. For this work, another thing is it's the first time in our city the government let some new building be built, designed in the history area. You know, it's not easy. So when the building just be finished, the mayor, they meet me here. They tell me, I really sustained big responsibility about this. It's a challenge. Many experts don't agree, design a new building here. They should go according to the traditional style forms. I don't know what happened, because second day is this new street opening days. He don't know what will happen. But finally, just from the first day of the opening day, within 1 week, 1 million people visit this small museum. 1 million. The people, they really enjoy it, like it. They like something like this. So it's my new work. I will finish in the next year. The construction just start from this month. Next summer, they'll be finished. So I talk about this from traditional painting, Song Dynasty. It's beautiful. It's been painted about 1,200 years ago. The people really understand what it means about nature, how live inside the nature environment. It's the scholars teaching here, it's the campus. It's my joy. It's my joy. It's the site where the beauty is along here. It's our computer model. Then you will find some relation from this building to this painting. They have many different separation about the space and the place. They have built relation to the nature. And this, I think this is my biggest project, use the ramparts. Yeah, its wall is a ramparts wall. It's be finished in the next summer. I called it Tails Mountain. Yeah. Yeah, the people, they can walk on the roof like this. It's a river. So I gave the short instruction to our school. It's our dream. We want to do this. It's Hangzhou. We started from 2001. Yeah, we start from some new way about education, handmaking. We want to combine it to the contemporary art together. It's our first course for our first group students. We have 2 teachers. One is me. Another one is the artist. His name is IVV. We're teaching together. It's our students. Yeah, it's our architecture school. It's our teaching building. It's our architecture department. It's our small library. It's our students with, I think the foreign students come recently. We have a very long time about the hand drawing exercise. And we have a very good library system, because in China, In fact, the education is it's very few things about laboratory, about experiment. We build a very good system about experiment, about laboratory. We do many workshops about it, research. We do many international exchange, exhibition, and forum. We have a forum. We don't call it architecture forum. We call it tree and stone forum. They have the relation to the traditional Chinese landscape painting. Something like this. And thanks to everybody.
So we need to stay in the auditorium, if at all possible, for a few more minutes. But Wang Shu's happy to answer some questions from the audience. So please feel free.
Yeah. Please.
Yes. So since they are taking away all the historical buildings, are you planning on your buildings that you're doing now, will these last more than 20 years?
Yeah.
Or is that a government policy?
I think the more important thing is insist on this experimental way. I can design it, build it in China, and I also can do it out of China, because it's not just about China. I think when we talk about the sustainable, ecological, how to keep the different variety of the rich variety of the culture, something like this. So I remember last time I gave the lecture in Tokyo, some African people, they shout to me, you is what we want. Please come to Africa. Please help me. Yeah, I think, yeah, we will really talk about some deep question. Yes. Yeah.
Cost-wise,
Hi.
cost
Mm-hmm.
of your buildings compare with a Western building?
It's very difficult to say because it really mixed blood something together. So I can call it about this. For Chinese, many people they think, oh, they have the relation to our landscape culture. But for the many foreigner visitors, they go to the site to see the building. Apart from this, they also find, oh, I think maybe Le Corbusier will smell for your building. Louis Kahn will also smell for your building. And maybe Avro Shiza, there was a smell to your building. This means, yeah, I really learned many things to many good architects. Yeah, different culture. It's a,
How many projects do you often do at the same time?
Usually in China, almost every architect know my studio. 1 year they just accept one new project, but in fact, some project schedule delayed. Something we have some repeat of the process. Finally, I found now in my studio we have 8 projects. We're working in the same time. 8 become 8, 1 become 8, something like this. Yeah. Okay.
Has it changed the way you're doing the work since you now have more at the same time?
Yeah, I think I will keep the way, because I think it's important. The way is I like this way. I really touch the things. If the too many people working with me together, I will spend many time to management the people and not touch the things. It's very important. Another side, I think I should give some example for the young generation architects, because I will give the example like this. Small office, small studio, they really can do important things. From a small one to big one, they can do it. So it means experiment about working way for the architects. The third is means in this world, it's a strange things happened. Originally, experiment studio and office usually is very small. But now, some that it's become very huge. For example, Kuhas. Yeah, he's experiment architect, but his office becomes so huge. Herzog and de Meuron, it's become so huge. It means young architects, experiment studio is more difficult to survive, I think.
I
Please.
just wondered, you use these recycled materials,
Mhm.
but I wonder what's happening to the rest of these materials that are being torn down, and are they being stockpiled, or how are they taking care of that?
The good news is when we do the pavilion in Shanghai Expo, we find gradually become difficult to get recycled materials. That means the people, they began to understand they should to keep something in our culture. So now we also use the recycled material, but it's about traditional one. Because now in China, many cities, they began to demolish some building. They just be built 15 years ago. They think they become old. They want a new one. But it also means they waste resources, waste materials. So now I do the new work is to use the new recycled materials. Please.
Can you talk about air conditioning and the relationship of the inside and outside?
Okay. In fact, in my work, usually I use the very simple way. Yeah, because I think in China, my project usually I have to keep the budget very low. For example, the history museum for me it's the highest standard, but we should keep it about $1,000 for 1 square meters. $1,000, I think. It's $100.
$100 a square foot.
Okay, it's $6,000, $1,000. $1,000 for 1 square meters. $1,000, yeah. Really?
$300 per foot.
It's about 6,000 RMB for 1 square meters. 6,000 RMB. It means $1,000. $1,000 for 1 square meters. For the new campus building, yeah. The campus building is maybe the euro is more easy. It's it's about below 200 euro for 1 square meters. So how use some ecological way for the buildings? For example, I just used the recycled materials to build a system called a thick wall and a thick roof. Yeah, it's very simple. Thick wall is thicker, and the roof is thicker. Then it's cheap, but very effective. Please.
What role does region play in what you do? How would your buildings be different if they were in other parts of China?
What you mean is for?
I know China has a lot of different climates.
Yeah.
A lot of, and the cultural history in
Yeah.
different parts of the country
Yeah,
is different.
yeah.
So how much are your buildings inspired by the history and the climate of the specific city they're building?
Yeah, it's. I think usually my building be built in the South China. Yeah, the South China is weather is more similar. It's different to the North. South China is many raining, very humid. The summer is incredibly hot. The winter is incredibly cold. Yeah, I think it's the most difficult situation for the architects. For example, they discuss about the air condition. Yeah, it's very difficult to do it. Yeah. It's totally different from North China. In North China, if you use my system, 6 wall, 6 roof, don't need air condition. It's okay in summer, and in winter also it's good. Mm. Mm.
Do you plan to, limit your scope of work within public and, cultural buildings, or do you intend to, in the future, do something like maybe commercial or residential?
Yeah, it's I don't think it's in China. In fact, we separate very clear. This architect is about experimental. This architect is just to do business. It's very clear. It's different groups. So for me, it's I think it don't have so close relation to the function. It's a museum or it's just some countryside school. It just means about your way, about design, about working. I think it's more important. So I designed many different things, from very small things in the countryside and from the huge museum in the city. It's just relate to my way of thinking and making, I think. Oh, okay.
Does China have any building regulations?
Yeah, we have. But in another side, they still have some space. You can do some change on site. It's very important. Yes, usually I'm very happy if some client, they call me, please come to site. We want to control our budget. You should think about a way to save the money. So it means chance come. So I can do some change on site. This is, for me, it's the most happy time. I go to site and we can change here, can there, something like this. Yeah. Mm. Okay. Okay. Thanks for your question. Thanks.